I am calling today's review of I'm Quitting Heroine expected, incomplete, but great. And what I mean by that is this ending to I'm Quitting Heroine was definitely an expected ending. When I really dug into last week's episode, which I know a lot of you weren't fans of, so I hope the ones that weren't fans are back this week. But when I was digging into it, and I know some people didn't really enjoy the extreme criticism, but I think last week's episode just wasn't good. But when I dug into it, I said, hey, the next expected outcome for I'm Quitting Heroine is the fact that Leo isn't going to die. And that is just the simple expectation that you're to have for two reasons. A, the reason is if they want this anime to ever continue on in the future, the studio may not know if they will ever get a season 2 or continuation. But let's say that they have hopes that it could come sometime in the future. Then you don't want to kill off the character that the anime is surrounding of. Now, I think if they were unsure, that they might have taken liberties with the source material and just gone ahead and just nixed the dude. But because we can just safely assume that's not going to happen, and they're not going to kill off the character that the anime is based on, we all expected that he was going to live. But how he was going to live is where I thought was decently expected but unique. And that is really because the main thing that he has done in his 3,000 years, so this is Leo, the main thing he's done so far in his 3,000 years of living is being able to create a persona outside of what was fabricated for him. And although he was still convinced that he was following orders, through the season, we were able to see multiple facets of his personality, where he was helping, where he was working in a tavern, in a restaurant, where he was helping out defenses, where he was helping out Lily learn, where he was helping out the army and training. So we got to see multiple facets of his personality, which all inherently equal out to be him. And one of the things that I think it took this moment to realize was like, hey, and he even admitted it himself, was like, hey, out of these 3,000 years, I was finally able to kind of create or become his own person. So this episode had him reflecting on, like, everybody in the army was like, or all the generals were like, hey, especially 𝐒𝐻𝐼na, she was like, go give it a shot, go try and break out of this norm. And when he was able to go and flash into his head, he had you must protect humanity, blah, blah, blah. And eventually he was like, shut up, Leo, shut up, me. And he was able to shut that off. And he was like, holy crap, it's quiet in here. And that moment I thought was special because it kind of broke the wall that Leo had falsely created. Well, that was falsely created for him, I should say. He was finally able to break that wall and able to break that barrier. And I thought in that moment was especially special for him because that was the day, like that was year one. That's his number one, that's his birthday now. Like he is now him, he is now himself. He is now his own person. He has broken away from this endless cycle and this endless chain of having to be something that he was but isn't anymore. And now starts his journey as the first day he gets to spend as Leo. Now he can look to the future and make up for all the regrets that he was going to leave behind inevitably, which all the generals called him out for. And even, between him and 𝐒𝐻𝐼na, they shared a conversation of, she shared a conversation of, this was the last time that you were going to have the opportunity to die, probably for the next few centuries, for the next few hundred years, if not longer. You just gave up the only opportunity to die. How does that make you feel, kind of thing? And, he's totally okay with it. And I think that was the most expected enjoyable outcome that the anime could have taken. And I think although it was cheesy and expected, I think it was a good ending to the anime because, like I said, if they ever want to continue this journey from here on, they can do so with a clear mind. Also, I love that moment where him and Ekina were called out for sharing a romantic moment. We all kind of saw that coming. We knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. Okay. At the top of the video, I said this was the most enjoyably expected good ending, but it was incomplete. Now, here's the incomplete part. We know that they only had days, not weeks, not months, not years. They only had days to go and get a Philosopher's Stone. The reason that they expedited that mission with Leo specifically was because they only had those days. So where was one of the two Philosopher's Stones that exist in the world? One was within him, one was in the city. Before this portal closes in the next few days, they still have to go get that stone. Now, whether they go and borrow it, whether they come and bring it back, whatever the case is, they need to go get that stone, so then that way they can go and basically save the demon world. So I feel completely incomplete because this season was building up outside of building up to Leo's decision and his potential death, etc., which we were building up to. Outside of that, we were building up to what was going to happen between the demon world and between the human world. We were building up to them getting the stone from the city. We were building up to them going back to the demon world and rebuilding it. We were building up to all these moments that are 100% never going to happen. And if this never gets to season 2, we're going to end off on all those questions that, yes, maybe the source material will answer, but as a anime only or someone who just watches anime casually, who may have chosen this anime, who's not going to go and read a manga or read a light novel, this is just 100% incomplete. And I always hate the fact, when anime exists, like it needs to exist, you shouldn't have to go and read or discover or look into any other source outside of the anime to go and complete it. Now, I know a lot of you are like, well, that's where it's based off of, and I'm completely okay with that. But when there's something that's created out of something, right? That's like creating the Harry Potter movies out of the books, but never getting to the end when, Harry and Hermione and them grow up, right? It's like them stopping halfway through, like at the Goblet of Fire or, the Return of the Prince. Like, it's like them stopping and just be like, well, you feel incomplete, and then you have to go, and if you are a true fan, quote unquote, you're gonna have to go and read a book. That's stupid, right? So this is like the same thing. So I just feel incomplete in that way. Is like I kind of wish that, like I said last episode, I feel like they wasted last episode completely. And I know a lot of you are like, well, they built up Leo's reason for it. They could have done that in like 5 minutes, but instead they wasted 17 minutes of his backstory. They could have just said, hey, here's him. Here's him doing this stuff with the H series. Here's him destroying these labs. Here's him doing XYZ. Here's his reason. They like that 17 minutes could have been done in 5 minutes, and then where we ended could have been done in that 8 minutes, and then we could have had 12 more minutes of this episode here and then this last episode figuring out what's going to come next, and then them ending this episode maybe at them finally going back to the demon world, or them getting the stone, grabbing the stone from from this world, saying, I wonder what's going to happen, and then going back to the demon world, right? And then ending there. And then I feel at least more complete. I know that they actually did something that we were building up to, and now I'm worried about what's going to come next, as opposed to, well, none of that effing happened, which it kind of sucks. So, again, I'm going to leave you guys off on this specific thought here. This episode was expected. I think they did the right thing. I think they made the right choice. I think it was the most enjoyable choice that they could have made. I love that he didn't die. I didn't want him to die at all. I think what's going to come next is what's in question, but what we got was good. I just think that if we never get a season 2, that's where I feel pretty bad, and I feel like this was incomplete. That's the final thought. I'm going to leave you guys on there. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments below. As always, I appreciate you guys being with me all season long for the good and the bad, for what you liked about what I said and what you hated. Let me know what your final thoughts are in the comments below. I'm not always right, but this is my opinion. So let me know what your opinion is down in the comments below. Blow me up down there. And my friends, don't forget, we're going to be here all summer long for a bunch of new effing anime. So make sure you guys go check out the 10 anime that I'm suggesting that you watch outside of what we know is coming, like Classroom of the Elite. And, all these other anime like Overlord coming, the 10 new anime that are brand new coming this season. Go check out that video. All right. See you next one.